Today we have a fantastic guest joining us. He's no stranger to the comic book world. He's not just an omnibus expert, but the uncanniest YouTuber around, the heart and soul of near mint condition, where passion for collected comic book editions meets community spirit. Omar isn't just a content creator. He's a maestro of building positive and passionate connections among comic book enthusiasts worldwide. Omar, it is a pleasure to have you with us today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Man, that was really good. I didn't know you were
Uh,
talking about me. That's how good it was. You're talking
uh,
about
you,
somebody else joining us?
you are one of my favorite YouTubers, not just comic book YouTubers. You are one of my favorite YouTubers.
Oh, thank
Every
you, man.
time, yeah, every time I see a new video pop up, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be good because just your genuineness and your earnestness just comes across as, hey, he's a comic book fan. This is somebody who loves comic books and collected editions. So anybody who is a fan of physical media and comic books, omnibuses, hardcovers, Omar's is the place to go. So I will leave a link in the show notes.
You're too
Yeah,
kind.
thank you.
I appreciate the
Oh,
kind words.
yeah,
Um,
I think everybody hates the sound of their own voice. That's kind of par for the course because I like your voice, so it's
well,
very
I
interesting.
really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. It's a good thing my wife likes it too. So how do you put up with me?
Yes,
Like, how do you do this? So you have been busy since the last time I came here. You're putting out
yes,
content left and right, which I love seeing.
yes,
Because I've been on shows before where people realize there's a lot of work. I don't know if I want to do this, you know,
yeah.
and burn out.
I'm
Burning out is easy to do.
Yeah, I've
Easy
I've
to
got
do.
that, like, in the back of my mind. I'm like, I don't like, I'm still having fun, I'm still passionate about it, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't want to burn out, so I'm just trying to do as much as I can,
Mhm.
every day. I'm like, "All right, what piece can I put out today? Uh what part of the puzzle can I do today?" So, I appreciate that. But yeah, the last time you were here, I was known as the Vactorverse because it was kind of like everything in my universe. I still have that on my social media handles, but I wanted to specifically break off my two main passions, which is Star Wars and comic books. So I said, instead of just doing everything on one channel, why don't I split these up? So now I've got This Comic Cooks as my comic book channel. So
Okay.
I'm very happy that you can join me here today, Omar. And you can kind of, I think you're the first big guest that I've had so far on This Comic Cook. So you're kind of you're breaking the champagne bottle over the bow of the USS Comic Cooks.
Well,
So
I
thank you.
appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on. Okay.
But
So,
for
what do you like to focus on these days?
Well, comics, like I'm so I don't know if I told you this last time we spoke. There was a period where I was just caught up on every comic and I was just reading everything.
Mhm.
Then my wife enters the picture. I start to move a little bit away, and I feel like I got snapped away by Thanos. And it was about 5 years that I was not caught up. Like I was in the back of my mind, I was like, man, I wonder what's going on with Spider Man right now. I wonder what's going on with Superman right now. But I wasn't keeping track. I wasn't keeping up. And so when I came back, I was like, man, I've missed all of these stories, all these characters. So I got to get caught up. So that's my goal right now, is like to be where I was 5 years ago, where I'm just caught up on every book. So I'm just struggling. I feel like there's more
Ooh.
books now than there was 5 years ago. I don't know if that's true or not, but it just feels like it. It just feels like there's so many books coming out right now.
Mhm.
Um, but specifically, I wanted to ask you what your favorite reads are. I know with Uncanny and a lot of your branding is very X-Men centric,
Oh,
very
yeah, yeah. Absolutely,
mutant
yeah.
heavy. So would you say that's like your favorite comics to read, is the X-Men stuff, or is it just kind of worked out? That was just the
I
way
mean,
that
let's be honest, right? I've been reading X-Men for 40 years. It's an abusive relationship, but I keep coming back. I'm just
I
being honest.
yeah.
It's it's going back, and I'm like, "Oh, you treated me wrong. But let's see what you got now. Oh, you learned a new recipe. This is good.
Yes,
This is
yes.
good." Oh, you added a little side of mac and cheese here. I like that. I can't
The
believe I'm using that metaphor, but it kinda feels like that. And then you're reminded and then they remind you why you left to begin with, and you're like, "Ah, I'm done with that nonsense. I ain't coming back."
man,
Slam the
it
door, and then, like, 5 minutes later, you're like, "We cool now?
yeah.
Let's see what else you got." It comes and goes. There are moments that I love X-Men. There are moments that I'm like, "Why am I doing this to my soul?" Um, but I think that's anything, right? Like, if you've been a fan of anything for 40 years, whether it's
Right.
Star Wars, comics, video games, novels, you tend to go through a roller coaster ride with these things, right? Even in manga. I mean,
Mm.
manga usually has one mangaka, right? But sometimes the mangaka gets a little older and wants to write a new story, and you just, why? Don't do that. Leave it where it was. We don't need an explanation.
Right.
And it seems to be a very popular trend, especially in the last decade or so, to bring back a lot of these older stories over there.
Mm.
Um, no, but I like everything. I like independent books. I love Marvel. I love DC. Not just X-Men. If you watch my channel, I tend to dip into everything because I'm a big fan of just reading, especially in this medium.
Yes.
Comics are great.
Um,
But I was gonna say that I think right now, man, I think what's doing it for me is a lot of these books that are being written by Jed McKay. I love that dude's
ooh.
writing is so good.
Mm.
Star Wars, the Bounty Hunter series is such an underrated series. DC's killing it right now with Birds of Prey by Kelly Thompson.
Man.
And Taylor's run on Nightwing is coming to an end, unfortunately, but hey, that's gonna make a good omnibus one day. With Bruno
Ooh.
Redondo on artwork, we've got Dan Mora working with Mark Waid on World's Finest, which has been amazing. Poison Ivy by G. Willow. Poison Ivy. You told me like 5 years ago I'd be saying Poison Ivy is one of the best DC books. What What are you talking about? No, and independent books are coming out left and right from Vault Comics. Mad Cave is putting out some great stuff. Dynamite, it's got some good stuff in the
Ooh.
works right now. A lot of those Disney books people are sleeping on, they're really good. The Disney villain stuff. The Hades book is solid. The Cruella de Vil is a lot of fun. Scar was great. And I think Scar can't be collected into a trade for at least 2 years now because they have some kind of thing with Disney. So if
Oh,
you want to
wow.
read it, you got to read it in single issues or digital, I guess. Ryan North's Fantastic Four has been amazing. I don't know if
Oh,
anybody's
man.
reading that. It's been so good. It feels like a going back home type of
Mm.
book. It's been excellent. I finally finished Saladin Ahmed's first volume on Daredevil. I
Ooh.
was kind of hesitant because I didn't really dig the first issue. By the time I got to issue 4, I was like, okay, now we got something good going. And I like where it's
Nice.
going, and I like the way he's using the other Daredevil for people in case they haven't read it. Al Ewing is just firing on all cylinders on that Immortal Hulk. But
Man.
X-Men as a whole, I've been enjoying X-Men Red, Immortal X-Men. Those have been excellent. Excellent. Cy Spurrier on the Way of X and then Legion of X, and he's got the Nightcrawler series right now. That's been a lot
Oh,
of fun.
okay.
But you have to like Cy Spurrier's style of writing. It's not for
Mm.
everybody, and I realize that. So I do like
Gotcha.
some X-Men titles.
Yeah, man, it just feels so overwhelming at times because I got caught up with the Powers was it Powers of 10 and Fall of wait, House of X? Or is it House of 10 and Powers of it? Anyway,
Oh,
I got
House and Powers of X, that series?
yes. I
Oh,
got caught up then, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm loving the X-Men." And then it just went into so many I was like, "I can't keep up anymore." It's like, to use your analogy, it's like a buffet, and I'm like, I wanna eat everything, but it's just too much. I can't. There's too much on my plate." Um, but now with this fall of X and this kind of the end of the Krakoa era, I feel like it's time for me to like there's an opening, there's an opportunity for me to get back in there because it just feels like there's so many titles coming out, so many spin-offs and so many things. Do you ever feel overwhelmed in that X universe, or is it for you just par for the course? You've been reading for 40 years, like you said.
well, when I was younger, you're limited to money.
Yes, yes.
And that was before I got a job, so I could only ask my mom, instead of getting candy bars, I get comics.
Yeah.
I'd skip
Nice.
lunch. I ain't gonna lie, man. I skip lunch sometimes to save those 75 cents.
Oh,
And I'm
man.
aging myself here, uh, to go and get some comic books. But it seems now for me is a lot of the time that I have to like save to go and
Right.
read. And
Now
time,
it's a time issue.
it's just like woo, it comes and goes before you know
Yeah.
it, man. Kids are home.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta make them dinner. You gotta help around the house because you're still doing things, right? But it's like I'm very blessed, and I know you know this. I'm very blessed that I do this for a living. And the way that I take it, and I don't know how any other YouTuber does it because I'm sure everybody's different. But if I feel like if you don't take this like seriously, if you don't take it like a real job, um, I feel like you could let it slide and let it go downhill quick.
Hmm.
Because I feel like that's a lot of the mentality. I know I see it, like, whenever or I would see it whenever when I would watch videos. I'm like, "Man, that guy gets paid to play video games? That's so cool, man." Or people that reviewed movies and stuff, and I think,
Yeah.
That's the life, man. You wake up when you want to, you pop in a game, you play, and you're like, "Man, this game sucks." But it's so much more complex than that. I've never worked this hard in my life. I was in IT for 20 years, and I know I've shared that story with you before, but I have never busted my butt so hard in my life, than the first 3 years doing this for a living because I did not
Oh,
wanna let
man.
my viewers down, and doing this for a living, like, I remember my wife asking me 2 years ago, "Why aren't" we couldn't schedule vacation until last year because I said, "I gotta make sure that every day I have something out and every
Mm.
day I work." And it's still like that to this day. With the exception of last year, we took off finally for 2 weeks. But she's like, "Why are you doing like, why are you beating yourself so hard?" And I said, "Because I think, part of it is my personality." And I said, "And since I'm very blessed to do this, you know how many people would kill to be reading comics for a living? Like, would just give anything up to do it. And if I just wing it and be like, oh man, this you're holding books up there. This book sucked. This one's good. Go and read this one. This one paid me more to get sponsored by it." You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's just what does that say about me and the people
Right.
that are trying to do this for a living? Like,
Right.
it's just it's a smack to the face to those folks. And I think she understood that. Like, she got more into inside the way that I think. So I've over the last because what is this year 3 doing this? Yeah. So I've been on YouTube. This is kind of crazy, but I was thinking about this the other day. I've been on YouTube since like 2016, but it was a different
Oh,
format
wow.
that we were doing that back then, and then it changed back in 28, where it became more about like graphic novels and collected
Mm.
editions, manga, and then I went full time in 2021 after I lost my job in 20. And it's been a ride of like learning and rolling with the punches sometimes, and then also learning who to accept into your group of people that can help. Because a lot of
Mm.
people, man, the more you do it, the more people are like, "Hey, I like the help, man. I love the help." And I've learned the hard way, unfortunately, that not everybody means it. There's always like for me and it's just my personality again. Like, I always think like, "Oh, well." There's always a "what's in it for me" type of angle
Mm.
sometimes, right? Eventually, and I also don't like to take advantage of people because I know how much it takes to edit a video. I know how long it takes sometimes to film and things like that. But I think I've been doing okay this year. This year in 20, finally, I got a group of people that are trying to help out in social media, and then people that are making thumbnails, I
Nice.
have a young man that wants to be an intern. I'm like, well, okay, do you know
Wow.
what that means? And like, I do, man. I was like, oh man, I remember being young, and I was like, okay, I'll put myself in his shoes. I was like, okay, if I was in his age, oh my god, I'd be like, yes, I'd help out anyway. And it reminds me of all those stories of like, I don't know if you like reading introductions of these omnis, but or the
Oh,
Marvel
yeah.
Masterworks. There's all these stories like Roy Thomas and all these Ed Hannigan, all these classic writers, Christopher Priest, Larry Hama, that would go to the Marvel office and be like, "I don't need money. What do you need from me, Mr. Lee?" Like, just go and offer his services to Stan Lee when he realized he was growing. And I am in no way comparing myself to Marvel Comics, but it kind of reminds me of like that energy that you have when you're young. You're like, "Ah, man, I'm do whatever it takes." And that's kind of the way that Hollywood is too. I have friends
Mm.
that move to California, try to make it in the movie industry, either as movie actors or producers or screenwriters or a director. And out of like, oh my gosh, 20 something friends that went over there to try to do that, only 2 are doing it because it takes a lot to do it. And the 2 that are doing it, I can tell you right now, for 5 years, they didn't make any money doing what they're doing,
Oh,
working for
wow.
a production company
Mm.
because it's like a learning experience. Both of them had 2 jobs outside of their production job, which is insane to think about. But they were like, dude, that's how it is here.
Yeah.
Everybody that's working in the movie industry trying to make it in the first couple of years, they all got jobs. Waiters, waitresses, busboys, whatever it is. Whatever it is, whatever it takes. Um, but now I think, like, going back to the channel, I feel like I have a good group of people that I trust to be like, "Hey, man, I need a slideshow." And they're like, "I got you, man." I'm like, "Okay,
Nice.
cool. That's one less thing I can do, and I can go focus back to reading and editing." Because I still, it's kind of still the big thing is me, right? Like all the big jobs are me, like reading the stuff, shooting the video, editing the video. That's still me. If I can get an editing guy, yeah, we're cooking. Now we're cooking.
Man,
Um,
yeah.
but that's where I am right now. So it's going. This year seems to be going, I think, a lot smoother than the last 2 years. Last 2 years are just, especially when you go full time,
Mm,
are jumping through hurdles and trying to figure out exactly what the audience wants. But what the audience want and what YouTube wants are two different things. So then you're like, okay, well, maybe put my brakes on what the audience wants. Let's give YouTube what they want. Oh, they like these shorts. Okay, we'll make some shorts. And then I find myself like, but do I really like doing that? It's
mm,
also about making, content that makes you happy too. I can see
right.
why people get burned out
Yeah.
making content over and over again, and not putting a video or two out there that are about them, like, oh, here's my top 10 things. I love making those videos about, like, my favorite things that I enjoy about these books, and not just be like, oh, here's a new Marvel omnibus or a DC omnibus, which is what people really like to see, but making it more a little bit about the things that I kind of want to do. Otherwise, you
Mm,
get super burned out on doing this. I'm sure
right.
you see it too, right? Finding
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
balance.
100%. It's something that, and you talked about it with shorts. It's like, how much time do I put into shorts versus how much time do I put into the long form? And I've kind of started to do more review based stuff versus
Mhm.
before I was just doing interviews with people and I was just talking about their channels and different the comic book community as a whole. And now I'm kind of doing more review stuff. The short stuff is all like biographies and character profiles, and it's like, I can, because the shorts are so short, I can record and edit those within like 15 minutes. So I've been like doing those daily, and then like the longer form ones will take me like a week or so. So yeah, I've
Mhm.
I've definitely been feeling that. And like you said, what do I like to do versus what does YouTube like? What does the audience like? Like balancing all of those things has been definitely tricky, but I'm happy that I have great inspirations and mentors like the Uncanny Omar. And I wanted to ask you, doing the daily stuff, do you feel like that has helped you as far as staying in front of people's eyes? Like, oh, I'm seeing your videos are popping up every day for me. And that to me as a viewer is like, oh yeah, this feels like or I guess it doesn't feel normal when I don't see a new one. Like I just
Oh
get
no,
used
like
to that.
something's wrong.
Yeah. So I guess
Uh,
from you as a creator side of it, do you think that the daily videos has been a huge part of your growth with your audience, or yeah, how do you feel about the daily stuff, I guess?
it's really hard to say. There are videos that perform better than others, right? And a lot of it has to do with what the audience is comfortable doing. I can tell you this much. People can gripe. Like whenever I do like, oh, these are the upcoming DC books, I see in the comments, DC makes more than Batman books. Why can't they give us Aquaman or Flash and things like that? But what I see as far as views and likes and things like that are Batman books.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, I wanna talk about Phantom Stranger. And here's a Phantom Stranger omnibus. Gets about a fourth of the views that a Batman
Mm.
hardcover does. And that's just the facts of life. So, and DC knows this too, so that's why they make Batman omnis and Batman hardcovers. They know
Right.
where their money comes from.
Yeah.
Same with Marvel. X-Men, Spider-Man will sell. So I see the same comment. Like, why don't they give us like a Captain Marvel volume 2? And it's the guy that gets to see the behind the scenes of the ratio of the views, the engagement. I can tell you exactly why. Because most people want X-Men and Spider-Man.
Right, right.
That's why. That's not to say that there isn't a need or audience for Captain Marvel or
Right.
Aquaman or
Mhm.
Captain Marvel DC Shazam.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a big difference sometimes. Like in trade paperbacks get less views because people really like hardcovers. We've come to
Oh,
this
wow.
big mentality of like the more expensive, the better the quality and the better products, and then missing out on some amazing stories that are only available in trade paperback. But we
Mm,
kind of see that in video games, right? Like people that do
right.
review of unboxings of video games when they have just a standard release of a video game, they don't get as many views as like here's the big $300 box set of Final Fantasy VII with the Sephiroth statue, with all the goodies. You might get lucky and get a physical game compared to, all right, we're going to open up Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Okay, here's the CD. Let's pop it into our
Yeah.
system. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I
Yeah.
think there's definitely that collector mentality because I was like that too. I collect toys. I love Transformers and the masterpieces I couldn't afford. So I live vicariously through people that made videos. The Hasbro releases that you'd find at Walmart, you notice that, oh, those videos don't do as well as Masterpiece Optimus Prime, $350. Like, oh my God, forget about the self-transforming Optimus Prime. I'm sure that guy, like, released the
Ooh.
first video, killed it on views the
Oh,
first day.
yeah.
So I think daily videos have helped. And I think about this all the time. If I had to do it again, if I knew I was going to be doing this full time, would I have done daily videos before? Because
Mm.
you get people used to seeing you. So not only am I not taking any time off, there is no sick days. A couple of weeks ago, we kicked off the Marvel Omnibus reprint poll. Brother, I was sick. I
Ooh.
mean, I was sick. I slept. I was sick for about 3 days. It was awful. Runny nose,
Oh,
coughing
wow.
on camera. I had to, luckily, because remember I said that I have I built a circle of people that I
Mhm,
trust.
mhm.
I had 2 co-hosts that were leading that with me. So luckily I had them doing it this year because there was no way I could have done it. I was a mess, and I would come in, and people I see because we did it live, I'd see in the comments like, "Man, you can tell Omar's feeling bad. He ain't talking about Wolverine when we got to the Wolverine part." And it killed me, but I was just miserable. And so there is no sick day. So then I think like
Right.
on days like that when I'm sick, I'm like, "Oh man, if I had to do this over again, I mean, I should have just done 1 video a week."
Yeah.
But it's impossible whenever you're doing like all these books are coming out, not just from Marvel and DC. You got Dark Horse, you've
Mhm.
got Valiant Comics, you've got Image Comics. You've even within Image Comics they have Skybound and they have Top Cow and manga like left and right. And I'm like, and realistically, people that want to send me their comics and stuff, I'm like, I had to kind of put my brakes on those and be like, I can't right now. So from time to time, I do like to have lesser known creators on the channel to
Mm.
talk about their Kickstarter or their book they're trying to get made. I think that's really cool. And part of the platform, I believe, is giving back to the community,
Mm.
like people like that. Because I was like that too. I remember having less than 100 it was less than 100 viewers, I think. And this one guy hit us up. He's like, "Hey man, you guys want to be on my show?" And he had like, I think he had like 8,700 viewers or subscribers. I'm sorry.
Oh,
And I
wow.
thought, "Oh my gosh, yes, please." And that's why I reach out to lesser like known creators at the end of the year to be like, "Hey, do you want to be in this big long video forum that I started last year?" And it did really well because people just are curious about what people's favorite reads are. And you were a big part of that too. And I think it's so cool because that's my way of also paying it forward, right? Because I was there. I remember what it was like when I didn't think anybody was watching, and why am I making these videos if nobody cares? We evolve from
Right.
there as content
Yeah.
creators.
Yep.
I guess even the people that are, not getting the views like they used to just because the whole
Mm.
algorithm game has changed, they
Right.
also, I'm sure, sit back and go, "Oh, this video's not performing well. It's got less than 100,000 views." You know what I'm saying? It's different. It's different
Yeah.
for everybody.
Right,
Um,
right.
so to answer your question, yeah, I guess it helped.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always interested, like, it's there's a YouTube advice that goes around and it's like, okay, you should be doing minimum 3 videos a week, or sometimes it's, all right, we'll just do 1 video a week, and then you factor in the burnout and people are like, okay, we'll just do as many as you can without feeling like you're burned out. But I think the daily for me as a viewer, like I said, when I'm when I get those notifications, 'cause I'm one of those guys that, like, I look at every notification that comes up on my YouTube, and so when I see yours and there's, like, a couple creators that I'm like, if I don't see their video, oh, wait a minute, something's off, something's wrong. So I guess I got that daily expectation of the Omar videos now. But you actually spoke on something that I was curious about,
Mhm,
and it's something that I just saw recently, like you were saying with the Batman books, where people are always like, "Hey, I want something different, and why can't you cover something different?" Did you get a chance to read the Ultimate X-Men #1 that just came out?
mhm,
Peach
mhm.
Momoko. There was a huge thing online about people like, "Oh, this is not X-Men. This is too weird and it's too
Wait,
out there."
Vector, stop. You're saying that there are people disagreeing online about X-Men? Do go
This is
on, please.
madness. But it was like the same people who are, complaining about when you give them something new, something different, something unique, they're the ones who are going to the store and buying Batman every week. You're voting with your wallet a lot of the
Mhm.
time. And like you said, with YouTube, like you're voting with your click or you're voting with your time spent, your watch hours. And it's just curious to me that, like, maybe it's just the vocal minority of people who are like, "Hey, I want something different," and the majority of people are over here like, "Nah, just give me Batman, the same old thing." But I just wonder, like, what is the breakdown and the percentage of that when you have, like you said, like a indie creator versus a big Marvel book? Do you see the specific audience numbers where the bigger 2, the top 2 get more views than
Mm.
like an indie book? Is that
It
something that you see?
I mean, unless the indie book, 'cause I don't know why, but I still consider Image sort of indie in a way, but, like, unless the indie book we're talking about is, like, Spawn, right?
Mm,
Or even Invincible, but those have TV shows and
right.
movies
They have a
attached
lot of
to them,
exposure, yeah.
toy lines.
Mhm.
There's exposure everywhere, and people are like, "Okay, what is this? This 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 animated show I like is based on a comic book, but that's not a comic book. What is this big thing? It's a book." Um, so I do see some of that. So I think it's about, expectations too of,
Hmm.
"Hey, I'm not just talking about X-Men. I'm not just talking about Batman. Here is a absolute 10 or top 10. Absolute top 10 is one of my favorite Alan Moore stories.
Ah, yeah.
Um, so it's like, here's Poison Ivy. I haven't even released a Poison Ivy video, so I don't even know how well that will perform. But whenever you have things like, even I said hardcovers, but I need to correct myself. Batman Beyond, the animated series Classics Compendium, did really well
Oh,
for a compendium, a soft cover book. But it has Batman Beyond, right? And people
right,
see
right.
that and they're like, "What is this? This looks crazy. This looks like oh, it's a comic. Whatever." Maybe that maybe that was a lot of the why people clicked. But I think it's like growing the audience and expectations, and then reality is like, "Oh, this guy's talking about other books. And here's an art book. That's pretty cool. I've never seen
Mm,
this. I didn't know they made an art book about this." Moon Knight for some reason took off too. Like, sorry, whenever we were talking, I was thinking back of all the videos that have performed well and surprisingly well. I'm like, oh, Moon Knight, really? I don't know why. I really don't know why. It was before the show even came out
Oh,
that it was blowing up. But anytime you have X-Men, Spider-Man on the title, those tend to perform well. If it's something like artist editions perform well because those are really like top notch type of books. Big hardcovers when it comes to manga, because people, like I said, have gotten accustomed to this idea of like, okay, manga, or I'm sorry, hardcovers, manga, hardcovers got to be the best version of those books. So I like doing comparison videos and things like that. And then I've done interviews and live streams. The live streams are the ones that I think that's more me than that is definitely something YouTube doesn't recommend. I mean, if you think about it, look at all the big channels, right? And I mean by big channels, like people with millions of subscribers.
right,
They don't really do live videos. They open up another sub channel and they're
right.
like, "Hey, go and subscribe to so and so because that's where you're gonna see our live streams of us playing Twitch on whatever." I don't know. I can't even keep up
Right.
with what is what's what anymore.
Yeah. I'm kind of starting to, and when I was telling you this a little bit off mic before we started, I'm starting to try to dip my toe into live streams, and I'm seeing Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, like, and even YouTube is now doing the vertical live streams, and I'm just like, where does that fit in to my channel? Like, how do I talk about comics, or
Yeah,
how do I do this?
I don't even know what that live like. I don't know how anybody else does this, right? I come from a background of IT. I'm a numbers guy, so I like statistics. I don't know how any other YouTuber does this for a living, but my idea whenever I was doing this to go full time was not to put all my eggs in one basket. So
Mm.
YouTube revenue is nice. We have sponsors, and then we have
Yes.
Patreon. And when people ask why Patreon instead of YouTube, what is it called? YouTube content, which I guess I could, but I just don't want to. The content creator,
Is that like the memberships?
yeah, thank you, thank you. It's a YouTube
Yes. Right. Right.
membership.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, because I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket,
Yeah.
right? Like
That's smart.
I have
Yep.
to have it separated just in
Yes.
case at any point Google's like, "Hey, we're taking more of a fee on this," and it's across the board, right? So that's one of the reasons why I do it. Like I said, I don't know what any other YouTuber does. I know there's probably a lot more well-educated people than I am when it comes to money and how to YouTube, but it's just the way that I do it. And I'm really confused as to the shorts. And it's been something that, we do once a week is what I told my wife, and that's it. And if that's not good enough for YouTube, then I don't know. But because, I mean, what it is YouTube saying, okay, we need that 15 to 25-year-old demographic back from
Right.
TikTok, right? Probably
Right.
younger than that, because that is the purchasing like demographic. That is the
Right.
demographic that will lead the purchases here in the next few years. So let's fight them, and we'll create shorts. And we're on TikTok as well. And TikTok has been sending out an email, I think, for the last 5 months. You need to try longer videos. They perform
Mm.
better, longer than a minute. And I thought, that's what YouTube is. YouTube is like, you need to try shorts.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to
And
make up the damn mind because I'm about to
right.
lose mine. What
Yes.
do y'all want? Like
Right.
and it's crazy because to me, like TikTok doesn't make any sense. That's why I bought it for so long. Like you and I are content creators on YouTube, right? People see videos. This is really interesting because I talked about this with my kids and my friends because I was curious about TikTok. When people see our channels, they know to expect like me and you there, right? Like a brand. They know near me condition. They know to see me and the type of videos I'm going to do. They subscribe to me. So I was wondering how TikTok works like that because the way TikTok is built, all I ever saw my kids do is this.
Yep.
Like this, right?
Infinite scroll.
And if they watch something, it's like they watch it and they're like, cool. And then that's the way TikTok is built. You're not made to go out there to look like, oh, I'm looking for Team Phoenix manga volume 1 review or whatever, right? Like the search engine that like YouTube has because it's built, also Google and all that. Well, now with Google, that's not the way TikTok is. TikTok is just suggested videos built on an algorithm based on your likes. So you're not really following content creators. You're
Right.
following videos that TikTok is pumping at you. And it feels like that's kind of what shorts are too. And that's when I was like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
Because people are going to start watching shorts or TikTok and not have that connection with a content creator and go
Right.
back to the content creator. So yeah, I asked my kids, who's your favorite TikTokers? And they're like, well, this is one girl that does dances. And I like the what is it like? I don't know, the World of Gumball videos, and I'm
Oh.
like, which
Right.
is a cartoon they watch, but they can't tell me who the
Right.
content creator is. I was like, okay, I think I just proved my point. Whereas,
Yes.
like, I remember when they
Yes.
were younger and they would watch, oh, can we watch Cookie Swirl C? Can
Mm.
we watch? I can't remember the name of this other show where they would play with dolls and stuff, but they remembered creators' names, and
Yeah.
that was the difference between YouTube and what TikTok is doing, and now what YouTube Shorts are, which is kind of scary. But I don't know if I'm just gonna keep doing what I do, and that's why I fought against Shorts for such a long time. But now we do them, and we do TikTok because just like everybody else, you got to keep up, and you just got to keep doing what you're doing too, and what makes you happy. So that's why I was like, all right, I'm doing that crap. I'm also going to be doing live streams, which
Mm.
YouTube does not recommend. If you want to get buried and not recommended to another, like a potential viewer, do some live streams.
Do you
That's
feel like
the way it is.
the live streams are more of like a community building because you're answering Q&A, like you're
Mhm.
taking super chats, you're talking to people. Do you feel like it's more of just a connection between you and the audience? Is that the main benefit of going live? And also it's in real time. Like I guess people they like that urgency or the immediacy of, hey, he's live, he's doing it right now. I can talk to him. Do you think that's the benefit of lives?
That's a good
Is there a
question.
benefit?
But I'll be honest, the benefit isn't like I'll be dead honest with you, brother. The benefit is not for my viewers. It's more for me. I need that
Mm,
people connection. I need to be with my friends. I need to talk about comics with people. I need people showing up on my live stream, asking me questions and talking to them. I don't have a social battery. I'm like that all the time, and my wife, I'm sure it wears her out because she has a social battery. I just found out what that was, by the way, a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to use it in a sentence. What's a social battery? Well, she's like, definitely not something you have because you're always on. Um, and I don't have that anymore because I don't work with, you know, I don't work with a group of people anymore. I
mm,
don't go. I'm in my house making videos. I'm behind the camera. I'm editing videos. It's just me. Me. I'm hearing my own voice while I'm editing the videos.
mm,
I'm tired of me. I want to talk to other people and hear their thoughts. And if they
mm,
have strong thoughts that are different than mine, even better. Because I love having a conversation. I love having a discussion. There are a lot of my panelists, we don't agree on the same book. We don't agree on morality of sometimes between things going on. And I like that because it gives like an open discussion. So I feel like because of social media and comments, people don't know how to talk anymore. And I'm sorry, that
right.
came out the wrong way. That's a
Oh,
very broad statement. Some
yes.
people don't know how to talk to each other anymore
Right.
because people get defensive or people are immediately like, don't want to talk. They come in arguing and want to argue.
Yes.
So I like talking to people because I think there's room for open discussions about things. And at the end of the day, you can still disagree with other people, but I think it's a good thing to have open communications within a group
Oh, yeah.
and come from different angles because how else do you learn in this life?
Right. Yeah.
But it mainly, man, I swear, man, it was because of me. I told my wife, we started the Saturday stream first weekend of the pandemic because I said I can't get out, I can't see my
Mm,
friends. I'm gonna do a comic book Q&A, baby. And I'm like, if more than 30 people watch it, then I'll keep doing it. And I've been doing it. Oh my gosh, 4
4
years now,
years.
every
Yeah.
Saturday. I should have done it on like a Wednesday or something instead of a Saturday morning when I want to sleep in or I want to go and do something. But yeah, that's been going on. And it's one of those things that, it has its dips. Definitely had its highs in 2020. Ain't nobody getting
Mm,
out. Let's see what Omar's got to say.
right.
500 viewers, awesome. And then it took a dip. We're not those numbers. I don't think we all even, businesses call it pandemic numbers because we had that extra cash.
Right.
But enough people still show up that it's completely worth it. And I need it to re-energize me, right? Like,
That's
not like
good.
everybody, believe me, not everybody's like, oh man, we love you, Omar. It's more like some people bust my chops, some people just make jokes, and then some people are there to actually ask questions about comic books, which is really cool. And I enjoy it. I really do. And the panelists that we have like maybe one, sometimes two a week. I do a
Mm,
movie show with my friend Amanda, and I love doing that because she gets me to watch movies. Sometimes I hate watching the movies she chooses, but it's fun. It gets me to talk to people, which, like I said, in my line of work, I don't get to do anymore because it's just me talking to the camera, to an audience, of course, and not having a group of people when you have a bad day. Like, oh, that sucks.
yeah.
What are we gonna do? So, yeah, it's it's I like doing it. I know YouTube does not.
And I don't know what the vertical streaming now, it's like, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
you
I don't
have
even
to
know what
do it.
that is. Why don't you tell me what I've heard people ask me if I was doing it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, in YouTube Studio now, there's a thing, and it's like it's always in my face now. It's like, try vertical streaming." But I was trying to think, okay, do I turn my camera? I'm shooting on a DSLR. It's like, do I turn my DSLR? But I guess you have to use your phone, and okay, well, that limits, like, okay, in
What
order
about
to
people
plug
who
a
are watching you on
microphone.
TV and stuff, or
Well,
on the
yeah, that
computer, or
right. I'm kinda like you, like, I don't really get shorts,
Hmm.
and I'll see shorts on my TV screen, I'm like, "Why would I wanna watch a short on my TV screen?" But the infinite scrolling to me, maybe it's a generational thing, like, I just don't get it, like, I would rather have a relationship with the creator, I'd rather have some type of, connection between them, and I know their brand, I know what I'm gonna get. When I get an Omar video, I know what I'm gonna get versus, okay, these random people on TikTok. And then also, I feel like it's lowering our attention spans, and it's like, I don't think that's good. I don't think the net gain for the short thing is very good for us. So then I'm like, as a creator, man, am I doing a bad job? Am I doing a disservice to the audience by shortening their attention spans? But I'm like you, I'm just kind of going with it until the next thing. It's just as
Yeah,
a content creator.
I don't think there's anything wrong with trying things, right? Something may take off
Yeah.
that you never thought about. I'm still puzzled by the vertical live because that really limits
Yeah.
the viewers that can see that or would benefit from seeing that, right? I
Yeah.
don't understand that.
I guess because there's also the TikTok lives where they're coming in. I mean, people are doing horizontal video on the TikTok, so that kind of makes sense a little bit to me. But as a viewer, I guess they're out and about and they're on their phones and watching live streams. But I would rather be at my desk or at my TV and watching someone's live and be able to talk to them and have a full keyboard. But my wife is like fully mobile. She's not into a desktop experience. I'm kind of like you. It's like I like to have like the full IT station. I like to have everything out
Well,
in front of
yeah,
me.
some
But
people like to sit down and watch, so I guess they've done the research for us because they tend to know better, right? Whenever they change things or make suggestions like that, so I assume they see most viewers are watching on their phone. Maybe that's where all that came from, right? So,
yeah,
hey, if they're watching on their phone, why don't you try vertical? Because
mm,
that's what the phone is, right? That way they have the full screen
yeah.
instead of you having up here. I
And then it's like I don't know if that counts toward. I know this is way back before in the early days of your probably journey, but in my like the monetization journey, it's like okay, well you have to have 4,000 hours of long watch hours, or you have to have 10 million short views. And then it's like, okay, well, the vertical
wait,
live
okay, 10 million short views.
in a 90-day period. And
So if you
if they
don't make it, like not
it
overall,
resets. Yeah. So I don't, and then the short, like the
yeah,
program
hey man,
doesn't
they're
pay as
robbing
much.
people left. Like that's,
Yeah.
I think.
It's kind of crazy. And here's another thing, just a little um inside baseball. So my Star Wars channel, which is what used to be the Vactorverse, and I changed
Mhm.
into the Star Wars channel. I had some shorts take off, and I was like, "Oh, I'm starting to get." Because at first, when I heard that 10 million, I'm like, "Oh, there's no way I'm getting 10 million shorts views, so I might as well focus on
90
the long."
days.
I was getting close to the 10 million, and then the 90 days ran out, and it reset. Then I was getting close to the 10 million again, and YouTube was like, "Hey, one of your videos violated like
Oh,
one of our policies," and it was like, so now you have to it reset again. So now when I look at my analytics on the Star Wars channel, I have 11 million shorts views right now within the
so
last month.
so you got
And
it.
I got it. But because of the violation, they said I
Doesn't
can't
count.
it doesn't count until May. I can't reapply until May. So it was like it's kind of frustrating to look at my numbers. Like I'm like, stay in the 90-day window, stay in the 90-day window. But I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep up. I just had a couple go viral, and that's what's been fueling that. And
Hmm.
it's like I'm kind of frustrated, but I'm also like excited because okay, what if I do maintain that? Then I can get the monetization. But anyways, yeah, it's just kind of a weird thing with the shorts now where it's like, does the vertical count as part of the shorts thing, or does it count as part of the long watch hours? I don't know how that works. I haven't done a vertical live yet, so like I said, I'm dipping my
Well,
toe in
maybe
there.
I'll be asking you questions because I don't
Yeah.
know anything about it.
And even like when you're on the vertical, it's like, how do you respond to people? I guess you just have to talk. Like it's not, you're not typing in the window or anything, but
I don't know. I don't know how that works. I mean, I guess I'll have to try it just like everybody else, but I'm gonna let
yeah.
you guinea pig that
Okay.
because I
I'll
don't
let
know.
you know. I'll try it
Good
out for you.
good luck, but that sounds really weird. And sure, I'm here for that. I mean, that's the thing too, right? Like you have to experiment,
Yes.
otherwise,
Yeah.
whether it's new kind of content or type of videos that you want to do, or experimental vertical videos that is being pushed on you by YouTube. You got to
Well,
try it, right? Or
do
you're gonna
you
be last one behind. What's that?
yeah. I was gonna say, do you feel like today, the point that you're at right now in 20, the YouTube landscape has changed from even the pandemic, like you said, even 2020, even 4 years ago, but even going back like to 28. Do you feel like you're making more of the types of videos that you like to make versus when you first started? Or do you feel like there's more of a, hey, I got to do one for them and then one for me, like one for the YouTube algorithm, one for me? Do you feel like there's more of a split now than there was back in the day?
I think I stopped worrying about the
Hmm.
algorithm about 2 years ago. And it's crazy to say that, but I couldn't. That's why, I brought lives back. I kept doing them and I did more. I had to get books out, overviews of books from publishers that sent them to me, because if they were kind enough to send me something, then I have to read it and give it a proper video. So here's the thing. Like, doing this for a living, it is your job to keep an eye on things like that. But I think I've reached a point where I stopped and we're still okay.
Nice.
Right? We're still okay. Not making the money you were making in 2020, but now I've got sponsors and I've got, like I said, Patreon,
Yeah.
to kind of balance it out. Definitely not making the money I was making in IT, but I love doing this. Love doing this. I don't want
Nice.
to go back to the corporate world.
Mm.
Um,
Man, you're living the dream, Omar.
I am, and I need a nap. I need a
That
nap, man. I don't sleep. So I'll be honest, I stopped caring about the algorithm because I thought, okay, I think I'm at a point where I'm okay. I
Mm.
can stop worrying about how long a video goes, how long,
Yeah.
because you never know, right? What I started doing more is listening more to my audience. Like, hey, why don't you
Mm.
try doing this? Like, you should make this video. Not everyone, right? Because I
Right.
think some of them come with great ideas, but some of my best performing videos were because of my audience. Somebody said, hey,
Nice.
nobody has this out on YouTube. Is there any way you can do it? And I would, and oh my gosh, I was like, I didn't realize that there was a need for a video like that, but it was because of them that I did it,
Mm.
that it took off and it brought some people to the channel. So now it's more of a publishers. I have to get those videos read first, or out first,
Right.
books read, videos out. And that becomes a big thing when I get sent like 5, 6 books and I have to get 5 or 6 books
Mm.
read. I got to film 5 or 6 books in one video. And then I have a Dark Horse stack. I have a Valiant stack. A stack from Udon. I'm falling behind. And I haven't read anything new. The way I keep up is through trades. What am I going to do? So it's more that. And then, okay, I'm caught up. I got to go back to reading orders. Oh, but I kind of want to make this video. Oh, this is coming out. Now we got all these reprint polls. I got hidden gems. Maybe I started too many segments on my channel that now I know. Because at one point, man, I remember, like, how can I do this live, like, every day? Or
Mm.
I'm sorry, not live. How can I do this for a living every
Right.
day? How can I make a video every day? Is there enough books? And
Mm.
I looked around my library. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good for a while. I think I can make a video. If I haven't made a video on any of these books, I think I'm good for a long time. I got a couple of years in here. But yeah, with so many publishers, with so many books, and not every publisher sends me things, right? Sometimes I purchase, like, DC doesn't send me any books. I
Mm.
purchase all my DC books, and that takes a long time to read, especially the different, like, Silver Age books. Oh my
Mm.
goodness, I'm through Silver Age Superman. I'm like, I think a fourth of the way. I've been
Oh,
reading that book
wow.
for a couple of weeks. I kind
Nice.
of need a little bit of a break in between, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm at now. It's more of like, what does my audience want? Oh, the publisher sent these. Got to get these out. Oh, this is time sensitive. I gotta do this breaking news video first. Oh, we got the polls going right now with the most wanted reprints. Yeah, it's like the
Nice.
videos I
Man,
want to do kind of get pushed to the side. And eventually, from time to time, I do get to make them, and they're fun.
gotcha. Okay. Well, before we close out here, before we bring the train into the station, Omar, I wanted to ask you, you got uh trunks behind your head there. You got you talked about manga earlier. I
Mhm.
wanted to ask you, what would you say right now, maybe in March of 20, what is your favorite manga that's coming out right now that, like,
The
every time there's
favorite
a new
manga
volume,
that is coming out right now? Oh,
you're like,
that's
I
so
gotta
hard.
read this. This is my, like, if you see it, you're like, all right, this goes to the top of the stack. I'm reading it before anything else because I love it so much.
Now that guy is good. I'll be honest, the one that I'm anticipating, Viz is re-releasing the Red Rain manga, or
Oh.
no, not Red Rain, Red River manga,
Ah, okay,
and
okay.
that came out years and years ago, and I could never find a set, and I finally found a set, but it was way too much money, and I'm like, nope. But now in the fall of 2024, they're releasing a 3-in-1, so they're putting three of their
Oh,
books in one,
nice.
because they have so many of these books that are out of print.
Mm.
Innocence is really good by Dark Horse. I don't know if you've read it, but they're releasing those
Oh,
in big, thick Omni formats. Beautiful books.
okay.
If you haven't had a chance to
Innocence?
read them. Innocent, that one's really good. But yeah, I mean,
Innocent,
I mean,
okay.
the answer is always going to be Berserk. That's the greatest manga ever.
Okay.
These were a lot of fun right here from Udon. I held these up
Ooh,
earlier. I was just reading them. I'm on, where's volume 3 is the one that I'm on. Okay, it's over there. Yeah, these are really good. These have just
nice.
started coming out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always like I'm one of those guys that anytime something is recommended to me, like I just immediately write it down, whether it's TV, movie, manga, comic books. It's like, oh, if somebody is taking the time to give me their opinion and say that they love this, I should check it out. I should give it a fair shake. I'm not going to love everything, but I want to check out everything. So anytime I can get a recommendation, I'm always going to take it. So thank you, sir. Man,
Absolutely.
Omar, you have been so kind, so gracious, and
Oh,
so generous with your time, sir. I'm very pleased. I love talking to you. Thank you very much for having me on the year end wrap up, talking about the best
You're
comics.
welcome back every year, man. Every year.
Thank you,
You wanna
thank you,
come
thank you.
join us until you
Um,
blow up. One of your videos goes viral, and
woo,
you show you'll be having me on your show with your
yeah.
vertical videos.
Vertical. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I should do. I should get you on a because
The
I know you can
vertical.
do. Yeah, you could do like a duet thing. I haven't figured it out, but yeah, we should do that. But yeah, man, Omar, I love talking to you. Like I said, anytime you are interested, please come back here. Hopefully, I'm still this comic cooks, but you never know. I might
You
rebrand
might
it
change
to
the name
something
again.
different. Yeah,
Rebranding, baby. That's okay.
um,
As long as
manga
I got your
madness.
email. I got your email, so you can
Yes,
always hit
yes.
me up, man.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you very much, sir. And thank you for watching or listening to this episode. We always have some more info for you in the comment in the description down below, and you can always leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts on everything that we talked about here. If you're a content creator, if you're a YouTuber, or if you're just a comic book fan, we'd love to hear from you. And I'm gonna have also beside also all of Omar's information in the description. I'm also going to have the link to our first talk back when we were the Vactorverse. Omar dropped some gems, some bombshells on us. So definitely check those out. And I got to say that not only does this comic cook, but Omar cooks as well.